and good morning, and welcome back to another vlog. I'm VA Winter. I'm an indie author, Substack writer, not sure what I am. Currently writing a YA urban fantasy trilogy. So I'm editing this vlog, and this is very relevant to the next clip, the clip that was actually filmed during the month, which you'll see why when you get to that clip. So the beginning clips were filmed at the beginning of June, and two of them, the first two, for some reason, my phone decided, in its infinite wisdom, to suddenly start recording in slow motion. I don't know why. It's not like the whole clip was in slow motion. It was normal motion, and then all of a sudden went into slow motion for the majority of it, and then all of a sudden came back normal at the end. I don't know why that happened. I don't know how many more clips are slow motion. But I think what I was trying to say in these opening clips is I'm currently writing a YA urban fantasy trilogy. First book is Fire Witch. It's currently out now. I'm currently working on book 2. Progress is being made. I'm also working on some Substack essays. What I said originally isn't even relevant now. I've changed my mind again. But that's basically, I think, what I was trying to say. I may have to pop in again and clarify something else that's accidentally gone recorded in slow motion. So I'll send you back to me, who's going to say something really relevant to this situation. Hello, it's me again. I have absolutely no idea when I last did this. I do just feel like I'm going through one of those phases where the universe is determined to put every obstacle in my path that it possibly can. It's sort of like swimming against the tide. That's the vibe right now. That's the vibe of like everything that can go wrong is going wrong. I think this has turned into about a 3 or 4 week vlog. I'm going to experiment, and this is difficult because this is what caused me the problem last time, filming my essays again. As I said, this is what caused the problem last time. That's kind of the plan at the minute anyway. I am still working on book 2. I'm currently 14,000 words, 14,500 words in. The progress isn't tremendously quick because of the aforementioned life issues that keep getting in the way. I am also working on the first, well, they're kind of all interlinked, but the first essay about these 3 books, which are all memoirs by people who grew up in sort of working class, poor, as the title of this one suggests, neighbourhoods, areas, lives. They grew up poor, and they've all sort of obviously ended up, thumbs upside down, writing books about that experience and sort of their experiences of life of being sort of poor in the UK. And I don't know, I need to get better at describing these things. There'll be one essay for each of these books, but they're all kind of going to be, I think, interlinked. So that's what I'm working on at the moment. Last week went wrong. Last week just went wrong. Last week was just wrong all of the week. Yesterday was just everything that could go wrong went wrong. And so we're trying again today. Hopefully we'll get somewhere. I do need to go get ready for work now, which is like frustrating, but it is what it is. So I'm going to go get ready for work, get on with the day, and then I will check in with you when there's something to check in about. It's been a while. I don't even know what I said I don't even know what the last thing was. I haven't started editing this yet. It is currently the 5th of July, about 5:30. These were supposed to be weekly vlogs, and I think the last one I posted was in May, and the vlog clips that you have seen have been scattered throughout June and then over the last couple of 3 days. So, I'm doing my nails. I've had a week off of work this week, which I intended to vlog, just didn't. I don't really have a good reason other than I just didn't. So I'm back at work tomorrow, hence doing my nails. I don't even know entirely where to start with any of it. It all went a bit off the rails again. I think some of it is just a case of I'm finding it hard because I stopped in January and just sort of abandoned everything. I'm finding it a little bit hard just to get back into the habit of doing this, of sharing what I'm doing and being bothered to turn the camera on, which is obviously my phone. This is a combination of that and the combination and the fact that things have kind of... It's been a rough month. June has been a rough month. Right at the beginning of the month, which is potentially, and I'll know when I go back through the clips, when things fell apart even more. I think the stuff in May was a combination of, I had some dental work done and that took me a few days to recover from. So I wasn't really feeling my best, or, talking wasn't really very comfortable. So there was that. And then straight after that, something bad happened at work. I don't know how to explain it without, because obviously I don't like talking about, I'm not going to talk about what I do or who I work for, other than it is an office role. It is working for a non-profit organisation. I had a bad experience with an element of my job. We'll put it that way, right at the beginning of June. That then cascaded into one of the worst migraines I've had in a very long time. So that took me out for about a week. So obviously I wasn't in the mood to vlog. And then it kind of just cascaded into the rest of the month. We had a heat wave here in the UK. It was really just a case of, how do I survive this heat wave rather than being tremendously productive. So it was kind of a bit of a confluence of things, of me having health issues, me having stress issues to do with my job, and me having the heat wave and just being out of the habit of doing this. And I need to get back into the habit of doing this so that I actually do it. Also at the beginning of June, did a overhaul of my goals and my plan. I decided to just end Q2 and start Q3 early. So I did Q3 plus. That's what I've called it, Q3 plus. So it was about 4 weeks, plus about 4 weeks. So it makes the quarter about 17 weeks. And I've kind of reincorporated YouTube back into the plan. And I've done my Kanban boards differently as well. Instead of having the to-do doing done, I've kind of made it into like weekly tasks. I've assigned the tasks 2 weeks on pieces of paper. I'm not sure if I'll stick with this way of doing it or not. It was partly because I had to get different sticky notes, bigger ones, and they were too big for the boards that I had. That part of it's a little bit in flux. But yeah, so I had that, and I've had that still in my head, like, do I want to do this? Am I sure I want to do this? It still causes me a lot of anxiety, like YouTube Studio and analytics and comments, and I had that bad experience in January. And I don't know, it's given me a lot of anxiety. But I think over the last week or so, I've really thought to myself, I can't let this anxiety control what I do and don't do, and how I work and how I don't. I just have to find a way to deal with the anxiety. Because the other thing I wanted to do this week, which I haven't done partly because of time, as per usual, never have enough of it, is get book 2 up on pre-order. The important update is that book 2 is booked in with the copy editor in September. So I'm halfway through draft 4, nearly halfway through draft 4. I have plenty of time in the next 2 months to get that finished, sent off to copy edits, and then that book's coming out hopefully in the autumn/winter. Part of the reason I haven't done it is part of the reason I'm procrastinating on it is because going onto KDP, going onto the other retailers' dashboards gives me anxiety. And it's frustrating. It's really frustrating. But I've just got to get over it, basically. If I want to do this, I've got to get over it. So I'm just going to have to get over it and deal with it and stop. The more you give in to an anxiety about a certain thing, the worse that anxiety gets. The more you avoid it, the bigger of a thing it becomes in your head. I just need to get over it. Coming up next, should be next, is on personal curriculums, commonplace books, and polymaths, and some really interesting links between those things, and kind of setting out the terms of, because I've changed how I'm doing pages of my TBR. The principle is still the same. I'm still reading my bloody TBR because it is out of hand, but I'm doing the essays slightly differently because I've started using Obsidian, which is really helpful for finding connections between things that you might not always think of. Just when you're in the midst of reading a book, you're not always thinking about other books that you've read. But when you're doing notes in Obsidian and you are creating little like mini notes for a thought or for a bit within the book, like a quote, you put a quote in and then you think, oh, actually, this bit of the quote is a topic that is interesting. Oh, that links to this other topic actually that I can see in my little graph or in my sidebar. The idea is that those links will create the essays. Like I'm still doing this with The Great Gatsby, but I'll probably read something literary criticism shaped for The Great Gatsby as well. And then I can find the links between that, The Great Gatsby, and this, and anything else that I decide sort of fits this topic. So you're kind of pulling together numerous books into one, rather than doing a book, a essay on that book. It's pulling together groups of books by sort of theme, by topic, retellings. What have I got coming up? There's one on working class memoirs, Chopsy Lowborn, Poor, which I showed you in the last video that I was reading then. I'm going to be doing a video on AI. I've got these books. So there's Logging Off, Social Warming, Empire of AI, and Careless People, thinking about AI and social media. And there's some fiction books to go along with this. This is going to be a big project. And this is what is lighting me up at the moment. I still love my fiction writing. I'm never going to not be a fiction writer. I'm never going to not be an author. But I can't just be an author. And this is just something, it means I go slower. I will go slower on this. I will also go slower on my novels. But that's just going to have to be the way it is, because I can't be any other way. So I think the kids are coming back out to play outside, my neighbours. So I am going to go now. I am going to shut up. So socials, etc. are all linked down below. If you want to follow me elsewhere, that's where to go. Fire Witch, my novel, is also linked down below, along with A Touch of Glamour, which is a short story I released a couple of 3 years ago. I will be back next week with something. If you did like the video, hit like. If you want to see more, subscribe. And as I said, I will see you next time with another video.